This is a conversation that's taken us a bit of a while, Tommy, to get to here, but I can't wait to talk about how do we actually use the power of tech to build great hospitality businesses that cannot or will not lose the human touch. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks for having me.
And you are a known voice and person in the industry, and you're especially known from tech and Honest Burger. But it'd be great just for people that haven't met you before and know the context, what is your story? What is your role at Honest Burger? And what you're really passionate about?
Sure. So my name is Tommy. I'm a 41 years old French man. I'm married and father of a 4 years old with another one on the way. I've grew up and studied in France. I've got almost 20 years experience in hospitality in UK now. And before that, I've had about 5 years experience in retail back in France. I moved to UK back in 2007. After moving, I worked as a GM for Costa Coffee and then for Itsu. At the time, Itsu had restaurants. So I was managing the one in Notting Hill Gate. It's now been refurbished as a retail because it's more profitable, I guess. And have joined Honest Burgers about 12 years ago now. First started as a GM, then I did 7 years as an ops, and I've passed the last 5 years being the head of restaurant systems for Honest Burgers. So in my role at Honest, I look after all things tech and systems. I source partners, I negotiate contracts, I set them up, I oversee the implementation, training, I keep systems up to date, and I work closely with the tech partners in our team on passing on feedback and feature requests. I'm also the first line of tech support for all of our 39 restaurants and 850 people. So it's a busy gig.
So I think it's a good time. We're talking at around 1 o'clock now. So lunch is on and everything is working right now.
Everything is working. Yeah, I usually get calls at 6 p.m. on a Friday, right when I'm about to switch off. This is where usually things go down. Yeah, it's always on a Friday night, on a Saturday night. It's a thing, hospitality. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's where the peak is. And what big problem do you actually? Because we had a couple of conversations, and we both are a big believer tech plays a critical role. That's like I always say, there's two things you can really control as an operator in today's hospitality environment. It's how you create a great experience for your people, so culture, and then using technology to facilitate that even faster and better. And that can both be, the HR, the workforce management bit, but also the tools they need to do a good job in the restaurants.
Absolutely. And I see tech as an enabler when it's done properly, and an enabler for literally all different roles that are parts of hospitality. I think for the frontline teams, it enables smoother operations, easier systems when they write, and faster service. So it all brings them into focusing more on the guest, which is the ultimate goal we want for the frontline team, not them spending ages on the till to input an order. For managers, the goal is to cut admin, to cut off all the things that no one likes to do that take a lot of time, or taking them away from the teams or from the floor or from looking after guests. Tech brings automations and innovations, and it brings them inside. So making sense of the data. And then going up into the hierarchy, obviously I haven't been in ops myself and working at head office, a tech brings you a real-time view on your entire estate performances, real-time view on what has been forecasted, real-time view on what labor you're spending, cost of sales, all these kind of things. And then even if I'm not a founder myself, but I have worked with founders, as a founder, I think it gives you a bit of a finger on the pulse of how people are feeling about your business in general, what they feel about the experience, the people, the foods, the prices sometimes. And then for customers, we should probably talk a bit more today about, He enables loyalty, a personalized experience when you visit the restaurant, tailored recommendations when you order online or on a kiosk. So I think it genuinely enables a lot of things for everyone that is part of the entire hospitality experience. And in my opinion, tech is, the test for tech is simple. It's if it doesn't make your life easier or doesn't give you answers, it's not right. If it gives you more work or more admin, you probably have made the wrong choice. It's probably not the right tool you're using.
And knowing both Phil and Tom, who was the founders of Honest Burger, they're very much on that experience, yeah? The employee and customer experience, and how do you create it slick and have the right touch point. And also they always think about, when we call something, there's a meaning to it. It's quite interesting. You present yourself, you were the head of operations systems. Was that correctly remembered?
Head of restaurant systems, yeah. But I still see myself more as an ops guy more than a tech guy. I think I think I'm just an ops person that just got tired of broken tech, and just try to make things a little bit better.
And if you look at you've been now in that role for 5 years, what has been the most transformative shift you've seen in how Honest Burger support its people and the role tech played in that, and actually making that, the better workplace, make work easier?
I think what we've done over the past few years is that we now have a strategy on how we want to use tech and what tech can do for us. So there's a goal for different part of the business. So we work really hard on having a tech stack that is fully integrated right now. And that is super important for anyone in hospitality at the moment, because that means that people's data, sales data, inventory data, guest feedback, loyalty, all that flows seamlessly between all of our systems. That means no silos, no manual entry, no double reporting. The goal here is for us to actually focus on the data and the insight and what they mean, the trends, the impact of them, instead of just wasting time, copy pasting the same data across multiple systems. And I think for the employees, the goal here is to ultimately make their life easier. And this is generally how I choose tech in general. Is it enabling the managers to have live reporting? Obviously, we are currently working hard on bringing in AI scheduling and AI forecasting, which we'll talk a bit more later, likely. Automated ordering. And then AI can help ingesting loads of data from a lot of different systems and just resurfacing the insights, all the things that you should be focusing on. So it saves a lot of time for everyone and just makes things a bit leaner. I think the ultimate goal here is for the managers to focus on what actually matters, which is the guest, the experience, the team, and making sure that the food is spot on.
Yeah. And it's quite interesting you start out and said we have made a strategy, because I know that's not usual. I know, maybe bigger chains like Honest Burger has now got it, but for a long, long time, those many hospitality businesses didn't have a strategy for how do we actually use tech to optimize our business. And then the pandemic arrived and you turned on all that different kind of tech and it was all muddled up. QR codes, whatever it was, you turned on a lot of different tech. And it's quite interesting. I think the most progressive companies, and what you talk about there, is that how do we actually get tech that actually gives us the overview we need, and actually also give the people the tools to create a great customer experience and not just create barriers for getting the job done. Yeah.
100%. And I think it's part of the growing pain points when you're a business. So when you start a business from scratch, tech is all, maybe not as much nowadays, but maybe a few years ago, tech was just a second thought. Okay, I need just a POS system. I just need something to have my inventory and my recipes in. I just need something to make rotas. And then as you start growing and have multiple locations, you start you start feeling the pain that those systems just don't talk to each other. There's no innovation. They're not keeping up to date with the new features with AI and things like that. And then you start having managers that just spend their Mondays copy pasting, the sales figure into a master spreadsheet that someone will go and break a formula and things like that. So I think this is part of a growing pain that we've gone through ourselves at Honest Burgers. When I joined, we have 3 locations. By the time I started my training. So we went from 3 to 39 and we're still growing, and we've gone through those pains as well. We used to have that master spreadsheet on Excel. That's the one we go in and delete a formula. We'll have to go back to the previous versions or multiple versions flying around. So I think now it's hard to consider opening a business without tech. Everything is connected to the cloud. Everything has AI or about to have AI being embedded in, and the amount of energy and admin that get cut by having the right systems talking to each other is so crucial.
And you mentioned, it's quite interesting. And I guess it seems like you have a focusing on the workforce management scheduling right now. You mentioned AI. And there's a lot of talk about that. And I would say there's a serious evolution going on, because it's not, online scheduling is not a new thing. And I think I was part of version 1 and 2. I implemented the first version of online scheduling into McDonald's. And it was revolutionary because we could see everything. Suddenly you didn't have to go and visit a restaurant to log into the laptop. You could actually see everything. You almost had an idea about how the operation was. And now you're actually at a point where those data points you always have been missing, you actually, all this complex data that actually impacts the scheduling, weather, festival, whatever it is in the local area, a breakdown of the underground, you can suddenly see straight in live time with AI and so on. And there's a new platform, there's a new generation of platform coming that can handle all this. What is it that you are doing at Honest to make sure you're still, because Honest is very much about, if you actually find enough a listen over the summer, to my interview with Tom was back in 2021 or 22. Excuse me, Tom, if I can't remember the right year, in summer in Brighton. And we were discussing the importance in all this tech that's coming to remain the human touch and actually the GM's sixth sense of how to actually run a restaurant is important. But here you're almost taking, with AI and tech will take that away. That sixth sense will be still important, but a bit out of play. But how do you manage that, getting the balance right at Honest as you're implementing new scheduling systems?
I don't think we're taking that sixth sense away. We're just trying to find a way to bring the right insights and bring the right data to the managers to feed that sixth sense ultimately, or at least to bring the data behind a gut feeling. But yeah, we've been on a journey this year that kind of started last year now in terms of AI and bringing AI to the entire people and ops stack. We started earlier this year with changing our comms platform. We moved to a new platform called All Gravy, which is absolutely phenomenal for hospitality, and then brings AI literally to every single one of our team members in the pocket. We've got our own AI bot that is our own ChatGPT, where you can ask any questions about Honest Burgers, about how to fix something, about a recipe, about policies, and that just made everyone's life so much easier. It also kept a lot of noise coming to head office for questions that kind of were there indeed to answer, but people didn't know exactly where to find them. And then this year, it's all about workforce management. And it's been a long journey in terms of choosing the right platform, and we definitely went with the wilder choice. We went with a platform that is not officially out there. But we saw a huge opportunity in working very closely with a up and coming platform to get almost something tailor made to our specific needs. And we are probably 4 to 5 months into the journey now, and about to go into phase 2 of the piloting. So the platform we've chosen to work with or to partner with is called Stint. It's a workforce management system that is built for AI and with AI as the ground foundation of it. And the goal going with Stint was to provide an accurate forecast at item level. So genuinely understand every single hour of the day for each location, how many of each burger, each drinks, each cocktails we are forecasting to sell, and then match that expected forecast to a demand. So the goal is to have an accurate forecast at item level that generates a smart schedule that fits both the people, which is an important part of that project, and the business. And the reason why we were interested in going with that specific partner was that we've tried a lot of things in the past, and we got frustrated with the rigidity of some of the labor models that are out there. So I think traditionally businesses use a labor model that is based on sales per hour or covers per hour. And then you decide, okay, for that many covers per hour, I need 2 front of house and 3 back of house. And every time I've got an extra 15 covers per hour, I'm adding 1 more person on the front. And every time I got 30 more covers per hour, I'm adding one more person in the kitchen. This is great that work for some type of businesses, but we find that it lacks a lot of flexibility. It doesn't really follow seasonality of the business. It's just not a linear thing across the entire year. So that's something that we wanted to move away from, because we tried it. It worked with some level of success, but we see the limitations, and it's almost you have to build it. You can try really hard to group locations into buckets that that's similar sized, a similar ratio of eating, sales, and delivery. That have the kitchen on the same floor or downstairs, have a terrace or not. Ultimately, if you really want to get this right, you almost have to go and tailor that labor modeling to the site specific needs, and it's just a crazy amount of work, and it's never always right. There's things that are not being taken into consideration by the rigidity of that system, which is the team skill levels, for example. Is the entire team brand new, or is the team been there for a very long time? That will have an impact on how lean the schedule can be. And we looked also potentially at time in motion. So, doing the time in motion study to understand, okay, how long it takes to make that specific burger, how long it takes to make and serve that specific drink. And it's the same. That is a bit too rigid in our opinion. It doesn't take into consideration seasonality either. So that's something we wanted to move away from. Now, what attracted us with Stint was the fact that the human element doesn't get ignored. And the approach was refreshing. And all thanks to AI. This is not something that we could have even done a few years back now. But what Stint did for us is that they injected the last 24 months of sales for every single restaurant. We're talking item level sales. And they also injected the last 12 months worth of past schedules from all of our restaurants. And what it did is that it learned from real rotas and real sales what staffing levels were used to meet the demand. Now that's the first start, and that's easy then to just duplicate the same thing, but it's not what we wanted to do. So what they've done is that they ended up created blueprints almost of each of our locations, and we compared the efficiency levels across the group. And the goal is to apply the learnings of the most efficient locations to the least efficient locations to kind of bring everyone, not everyone, but kind of bring the bottom of the bucket up, which is super exciting for us. And because it's based on real data, like real rota, we can back the data by real evidence that it has been done or is being done in other locations. So the team aren't stretched. We're not short-staffed or missing on sales, but also we're leaner where we need to be. And going back to the human element, I think the thing that was key for us was providing a schedule that actually fits our staff preferences or wishes, because we, like everyone, we have a growing workforce that is getting a bit younger. Obviously, Gen Z now is taking a bigger part of the workforce, and the expectations are slightly different from than the other generations. They want work to fit around their life and not longer their life to fit around work, and we want to be able to facilitate that. So the goal was to provide them with the possibility to make hard and soft availability requests, so we can fit the rota, the schedule around what they want on that specific week or around the hours they want for that specific week. But a good thing with the algorithm and using AI is that it doesn't just look at the availability. It also looks at the training skills. Someone is trained in multiple departments, or someone is trained, for example, front of house and back of house, but also training levels. So is that person been in the business for just a few days, a couple of years, or is it's quite senior? So you can make sure you got the right people at the right time. So strong teams on a Friday night, for example. Actually, Friday night is not that busy anymore. On Thursday night, for example, and the more junior ones on shift are a bit slower. Respecting their contracted hours. So we wanted something, and we wanted a schedule that fit our staff lives, but also the business needs. And that's been a long but incredible journey so far. And that's just for a second. I can see you want to.
No. But then also there's many questions, because actually, funny enough, when we choose that to McDonald's, we had the same wishes. Yeah, like that was the dream, and that's now almost 16 years ago. Yeah. And it shows you how long it takes, but how fast it's gone. And when I talk about the new evolution is happening now, yeah, that's where you actually get to that point where you can actually have these blueprints. And also when you get new GMs in, because one of the big problems we had at McDonald's as well was that they're gone. The GM is gone. 10 years of experience in that restaurant, just knows everything here.
The gut feeling is gone, right? The sixth sense is gone.
Yeah. And where's the blueprint for that? And thereby you can much quicker get people up to speed. And one of the things the GM would know, where there's still the human touch is important, is I think you mentioned as well, who is on that shift together. Yeah. And what kind of training level they can still, there is some things that where they can make a huge impact. So their thinking will be on that instead of all those basic things. Is there actually enough staff on? Well, I need 10 of those. 9 of those has already been allocated. I've asked the rest of the team with the right profile to pitch in on this shift. Yeah. So I can see where AI really going to do a different, because then the GM's broadband is not used on all this repetitive work, but also following up on things. The AI will do the following up, which was before done on a text or a phone call or whatever it is. And I think that's really where it's getting interesting. It becomes like the GM's second brain. And one of the things I'm seeing as well is that we all know that a bad schedule really impacts both sales, but also employee experience. Yeah. So that's really the key enabler for those two things. Yeah. To make it happen.
And service ultimately, and customers' experience. But staff. I mean, a schedule that is short when you don't have enough people, it's awful. Working in hospitality, we've all been in situations where you have a very busy shift and you don't have the right people to fulfill it, and then customers get angry, service gets slow, you leave sales on the table, stressed staff that are not having a good time, that are not smiling anymore. It's awful. It is something obviously we want to avoid as much as possible. But then the opposite is also wrong as well. So having too much staff, and it's something that, as a customer, even myself, when I go to a place, I tend to go outside peak time when I have the young children, for example, because it's hard already to keep them in one place. So you want to go at 2 or 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon when it's a bit slower. And usually that's the time you don't get great service, because you have too many staff on the floor, or they're about to finish their shift and they're all talking to each other. It's so important. And the second brain you mentioned, I love it. And it's exactly my train of thought is, when you start, I've seen that many times now as an up as well, is that when you have a manager leaving a business, usually it takes a while for them to get used to the area, to get used to the business itself, to get used to the team. So that gut feeling is not there, that sixth sense is not there. If the tech and AI can keep a linear aspect to this, so 80% of it is already in there, and you just have to make sure that you give the right schedule to your people, because you had conversations. But the understanding of the forecast, the understanding of the area, it's all in AI forecasting. It's all in AI scheduling, what staff preferences. It just means that when you have a manager that joined a new business, they don't start from scratch. They got that little helper that is there to make sure that they are set for success.
Yeah, I think those first 90 days where any managers go in any job, especially GMs, it often ends up and they need to figure a lot of stuff out. They need to go and find a lot of information. That's how it was before. And that's definitely what I've been struggling with having managers I had in to run restaurants was that you almost spend more time learning them basic stuff. But actually what they should have been spending time on was building relationship with their front line, with their guests, with the suppliers instead of running around actually doing admin things or learning things because they have to know at some point I need to know this and I'm going to seek that information. But actually, that's again where AI, not just in the workforce, but in general, can really help these managers when they go into the first 90 days, because that's really determine if they're going to be successful or not. That whole onboarding and having the tool to do the job, especially if you come outside and coming into a new culture. It's a heavy learning curve of learning to get on board. And actually, most of them fail not because of tools, but actually bad relationships within the business.
So important, and often what I've seen in the past is a new manager come in, start making changes too soon or too early, don't actually spend time with the people, and then you start seeing an entire team turnover that happens, and this is where also the sales go down and the experience go down, because you just end up losing the great people that knew what they were doing, that knew the business in and out, that knew the regulars, and you just end up having a team of newbies that are trying to catch up on their training and do their very best with very little. So yeah, I'm with you on that one.
The thing is so interesting because I've talked with a good friend of mine recently about this, and he was in that situation going into a new job, and in principle, he just had no time to build relationship, and he found it very difficult because he was like putting out fires in the business, but also knew he had to build relationship, but he didn't have any tools to help him to get the insights I needed. So he needed to go into Excel sheet and a totally different business than hospitality. But it's really interesting how much time he spent it on in systems where everything that should be available for you to make decisions very quickly. And I think that's really a game changer for hospitality as we go into this AI journey. And you talked a bit about, the importance of making, decisions on data. And one of your focus area was actually to get that data aligned across the business. What are you doing in Honest Burger to actually make sure that people have the right data at the right time? Because there's enough data. There's all this tech and there's flying data left and center. But how are you actually then making sure that the GMs or the ops director or whoever need data has the right data at the right time, almost down to the minute?
Almost down to the minute, yeah. So we use Tenzo, and what we do is that we control exactly what the GM's view, what an ops view, head office views, and the finance team and so on. So the dashboard are bespoke to what we want actually them to focus on, because I think it's very easy to get lost in data. So having the right dashboard and the right analysis and the right insights that actually makes sense for the business you're trying to run is important. Otherwise, you can just, it's a rabbit hole, right? You start digging, and you don't even know what you were looking for in the end. Yeah. So, and it's so important. It's literally one person ahead of it that sits between finance and ops actually, who builds all those dashboard for us. So we design exactly what we want the focus of the managers is on, and that's been the most important change for us. And that data is live, so it updates through the day, and you can go back in time to do comparisons and things like that. We've got a great team in a finance team that can whiz reports on Tenzo or the platforms in a matter of minutes if we ever need a specific report. Now we are bringing AI at some point as well, and large language models will obviously enable our managers to simply ask a question, hopefully at some point next year, and get the answer straight away, which is super important. What were my sales on a specific day last year, or what was drinks attachment on Tuesday 2 weeks ago? All those things can be whiz in seconds, where a manager would probably spend 10 minutes trying to find the right place to get that report, the right way to get that report together. So it's about to get a lot easier on top of that.
Yeah, and I guess it's going to be very interesting when you have voice as well, where you almost on the go will be talking into maybe your headset you have on and walking around the restaurant. I need to understand how many beers did we sell 3 weeks ago on a Friday? Boom, straight away, you can put your order in, move on, and you don't have to spend, as you say, 15 minutes. You use maybe 2 minutes on it. Yeah.
But
Or
that
maybe
becomes
they ask
that
you,
becomes that second brain.
yeah, that's the second brain. Should I put that order in for you? Yeah, the co-pilot. Yeah. How far do you think we are from that world where, like, you almost, as a manager, you almost have that co-pilot or that second brain that walks around with you?
So I think so that is us stepping in the whole world of AI agents, obviously, right? So difference between AI, large language models, and AI agent is that a large language model is it's almost like Google. You go and ask a question, and it comes back with a very structured answer, or you give it a task, a very specific task, and it's like a one-off. An AI agent it's almost like a small assistant, like a small apprentice that you give a specific job to do, and then you just keep doing it. So it could be, watch the sales and highlight any specific things that happen outside a specific parameter that you give them. So this is where it gets really, really smart, but it's only as smart as the data it has access to. And that gets us back to this whole point of having an integrated tech stack that has data that flows seamlessly between the systems. Because if it only has access to sales, it doesn't have access to stock levels, or it doesn't have access to labor in almost in a live manner. It cannot bring that information to you or help you making those decisions. And going back on to Tenzo, for example, this is where and it's something that I've been asking Christian to do, the founder of Tenzo. You have all the data, like you have all the sales, all the inventory, all the labor, the customer feedback, and things like that. So technically, you're probably the best person to build that co-pilot that would literally tell you, whisper to you in your ears while you're on shift, based on your sales today, you're about to run out of chicken in 2 hours. You might want to make a few calls. Or weather is about to change compared to the original forecast. You might want to bring an extra person to open the terrace to maximize your sales. All those little things that will require literally a manager to sit down, open the laptop, and start, looking at different dashboards and different systems. It's not what we want them to do. Ultimately, this is not running a business, and that just take them away from actually doing what is important, is bringing the best experience, both for the guests, but also for the team. We call it old school hospitality at Honest Burgers.
Yeah, and I think it was very important. I think Phil talked a lot about in my conversation with him. We have to be careful in general that we can't lose the art of hospitality, because that's really what people pay for. Yeah, like that's connection through a great product and a great human experience when you go in. What do other things you see? Like, everybody talks about AI. We know AI is coming, is transforming a lot of people. What within that do you think is really going to transform the way tech is used in hospitality within the next 5 years? What are going to be the big moves right now as we are moving into the future?
I think it will take away generally a lot from the general managers. The general managers in 5 years' time will have a completely different gig that they have right now. Forecasting will be automated, ordering, scheduling, we just talked about it. I'm sure we get to a point where we can get inventory, stock counts also automated. Some are trying to do it already. Reporting, answering to guest reviews or to guest feedback, or even just making sense of the data. You just have insights on the fly. So all those things, I think, will come very quickly, a thing of the past. But with AI and automation everywhere and tech everywhere in hospitality, I think some restaurants or some retail businesses might even end up staffless. Was it? And I apologize if I say something wrong, but I think it was the salad project that recently opened a location that has no staff. You just place your order and then you open a little door and your salad is kind of ready. Obviously, the staff behind it making it, but this is not far from where we're heading. And there will be businesses where sometimes it's just generally automations or robots kind of making it behind it. But with all this, and AI being generally everywhere at the moment, and personalization and customization, specific to your needs or to your habits being everywhere, I think we will get to a point where guests are hitting like a tech fatigue, and they will crave a genuine human interaction. And this is where the role of the general manager, shine. And then it's great that we take all those things away so they can generally focus on the experience, on the team, on the guest, on the food. So yeah, I think you get AI and tech to handle the paperwork and managers to actually manage people. This is where I see things evolving.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting because I think even before this time we sit today, if we go back by my time at McDonald's, we talked about the almost like the no employees in the restaurant kind of experience. And I think there's some products that be really well on and brands that be really well focused on that. That's why McDonald's, Chipotle, even no matter what they say, they are testing restaurants without humans in. And that's because the product is a transaction. But actually what you will see, because people will be so involved in tech, like we are online right now, and we will be on screens for so many hours. So when we are off, we want to go and have human experiences. So we meet humans to serve us, and actually, trades like hospitality, gardening. I think it's going to be quite attractive work kind of things. And it will be a different view on it, and the importance it plays in society. And there's a lot of talk about that now, but I think you'll really see that impact starts to come in 5 years' time, as we have a huge revolution going on in how we work, what jobs AI is going to take, because it's not going to take the waiters and the chefs' jobs, I believe, in the same degree as it's going to take the accountants and lawyers' work, because that's actually can already be handled with large language machines, as you say. We don't need actually much more advanced technology now today. So it's super interesting what's going on. And I think if hospitality is going through a tough time now, but there's no doubt about it, we come on the other side and we have understood how to use tech and our people, I believe we can be in a very interesting place. I think I can hear you saying the same.
I hope there's something on the other side. It just doesn't feel like it for a few years now. Absolutely.
And that's actually one of the things I wanted to ask you about. What do you see as the biggest issue right now around hospitality? I know there's probably, you come up with 10, but like the biggest one in your view that's impacting.
I don't think it's tech. I mean, and tech is part of the problem, but I think ultimately it's rising costs in general. It's just feel like we get hit from left, right, and center. Taxes, rates, natural insurance this year, rents, raw materials. Honest Burgers, we sell beef. Beef is going through the roof in terms of price at the moment. Yeah. Wages obviously are, which is great, but obviously it's another thing on the P&L that increases. Wages are also increasing. Utilities is just it forces the businesses to pass on the cost onto the customer. So people end up paying a lot more going out, and they're already more picky as how often they go out and where they would spend their money. But also it just completely reshapes the high street. I mean, I don't think there's a single week when I don't open the proper email and see a brand going into administration or a brand closing a few locations. It's tough out there, and there's some great brands that unfortunately don't make it.
It's very sad, and I think it's done. And then if you go to your local high street, you'll see as well established brands that's been around for years. Suddenly, they can't make it work, and you're thinking they're full almost every week. Why are they closing? And then sometimes it's actually just because the owner gets enough. When I talk with the owner, I just don't want to put that.
Those are the ones who don't want to close. Those are the ones that have a soul. Those are the ones that has a history, and those are the ones that actually bring life to the high street. Otherwise, it's just they all look the exact same. It's just the same brands everywhere.
And I guess tech will be part of helping mitigating some of that cost, but also there's some like structural issue around the whole cost pressure there is on an industry that was already small margins before actually all this hit. And I know specifically people deals with a lot of beef in their businesses. I've heard that for many others are really, really, vulnerable right now. Yeah. Because when is this going to stop? Yeah. And that's really the big question. What has been your, you've been in the role for 5 years, especially in the last couple of years, there's been a lot of change in the industries and a lot of pressure, lots of tech has evolved. But what has been your personal leadership lesson as you've gone through these experiences?
I think my biggest learning is how important networking is. I mean, I still see networking as unpleasant and exhausting, but it's probably one of the biggest resources in hospitality. Even in tech, it's a people business ultimately behind the tech, and the importance of connections and sharing the knowledge from other brands and the learnings I feel are invaluable. So even to that day, I force myself to attend networking events and to engage with other brands and other peers from the industry, because it opens also a lot of doors or brings you new ideas, or sometimes it's just good to have a good moment together about how things are.
Like we are having.
Exactly.
No, and I believe it actually sometimes it's forgotten trade. No matter how much you like it or not, I really thrive by the networking bit, and that's a big part of me as well. But I had a mentor once who said, I think that's where I learned it, said that the quality of your network is the quality of your net worth, and because that shows you how fast you can move when things get difficult, and how much help you have or insights or just support. It doesn't need to be money or resources. It can just be support, and support to go through difficult times is more important than anything else. I totally agree that's a lovely, lovely reflection. I think actually, and that's the only way to get through things that's tough. Yeah.
Sometimes
together with others. Yeah. What are you most excited about right now in the things you're doing?
I guess what? To get the pace of AI. I think in everything we don't know or we can't grasp just yet. I mean, just the pace things are evolving, and now AI model training, AI models, and AI coding, and AI checking the code, and it's just things are going so fast, and with all those big tech companies, and every week there's something new or something that feels very future-like that gets out. So I can imagine where it would be in 5 years, and I think on a personal level, I see my kids growing in a world that is completely different from the one I grew up, and I don't think we're far in terms of age, but we've gone through cassette, and then VHS, and then CDs, and then DVDs, and those kind of things, and then the early days of the internet, and then having a smartphone was a big thing, and it's already gone through a lot. So I can't even grasp what my kids will go through with literally being born with Alexa, and being born with Siri, and being born with AI. I mean, I love that now in school they're literally teaching, some schools around the world, they're literally teaching AI from the very early age, so they understand how to make the most of it, but also the risk around it. So yeah, it's exciting and scary in some ways, but definitely something I look forward to see.
Yeah, and I guess also if you don't participate in it, then you are making yourself redundant some kind of way. And it's easy to say, well, it's not going to work out, it's going to destroy us. But actually, if you don't participate, then you're definitely not going to get the right understanding, but also you're not going to use it in the right way, because there's going to be people that's going to use it in the wrong way. So you actually need to get in there and understand how to use it the right way. We just take on a total society level. We can't just say that it's going to be bad. We need to actually to evolve with it, like we should evolve with any kind of technology, electricity to trains to airplanes. Those people are saying they were dangerous. Yeah, they would just fall down all the time.
Everything can be dangerous, if it's turning into a specific way. But I don't think embracing AI is making yourself redundant. I think if one thing, it's like giving yourself superpower, or probably getting a lot more done in a shorter period of time, or allowing you to do more different jobs on top of your main one. So there's big wins as well with the AI.
Yeah, and it's interesting as you can take different work you have and put into the AI, and actually then you just ask, what do you see in these patterns when you go through this? And of course, we've done it here with the show, and it's quite interesting. We've not learned everything yet. And one of the things we got confirmed was there's like 7 tenants of great Maverick businesses. And actually just great because that's the book that's worked on in the background. Yeah. The 7 tenets that goes again and again and again in these business. And actually we had the feel, but actually just putting it through an AI and giving it instruction and feeding it some episodes and so on, it just confirmed it. And it's just like, oh, actually, then we can actually just move on with this. This is actually the right thing to do. And I think that's actually where AI is positive. It makes you much more clear in your decisions faster. And thereby you don't worry so much about things. And like, how much time do we don't spend on speculating and worrying? And as Seneca said, you worry more in your imagination than reality. And actually that's where AI can help you get out of the worry barrier and move on. A totally other question here in the end, Tommy. What is your favorite hospitality moment? Because that's actually where we started.
I miss the golden years of Street Feast and all those big outdoor food events. And it might be because I'm out of touch and probably and I moved out of London for a few years now. But I feel like it was such a big thing before COVID, and there were so many different brands of those big food events with a lot of vendors, and there's a lot of things that were innovative, and beers were flowing, and you have you have chicken wings in one hand and a very nice burger in the other. I miss that. I know now you go market halls and you go food courts that are popping up kind of everywhere, but it's kind of street feast vibe has vanished a little bit. So I do miss it. Yeah, I miss the buzz and the energy of it.
Well, that's a little shout out to somebody that has the tenacity and energy to bring that back. I actually totally understand what you're saying. I've been to that a lot before the pandemic as well, especially when I moved to London. I can remember, I think it was the summer of 2012. Yeah. I went to some of those events, the early days of that. And it was like very like special kind of thing. And everybody was talking with everyone. Yeah. That was how it.
Absolutely.
Food and beer was flowing, as you said. And it was not like unpleasant, but it was just like really good atmosphere. Yeah. And you met a lot of people, and some of the people I met on these things I'm still in contact with. So that was a really good one. Love that. What is the one question you wish I asked you, Tommy? And what would it be? And what would you answer?
I'm going to be a bit cheeky with that one. I think the one question I wish you'd ask me is, what's the best thing about being a Frenchman in UK hospitality or British hospitality?
Yeah, I love that. What is that then?
I think the best thing about being a Frenchman in British hospitality is that I get to be brutally honest sometimes, and I get away with it because people just, assume it's the accent or something. So it just means sometimes I can be brutally honest and just get away with it. Yeah, it's been good fun.
I love that. I never thought about that way. Because Danish people are quite direct and honest as well. And
not far from French. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think it comes out in a bit that the Dutch as well, for they're the total they are so blunt that it's like sometimes a bit even Danes would think that's too much. Yeah. So yeah, I love that. That was a really, really good one. Yeah. I love that one. That's a good reflection as well. So now you know that you shared the secret you should have kept. Yeah. But that's your superpower, but maybe actually you now get permission to operate much more on that level. That's a good one. Where can people connect with you if they want to know more about the journey you are on and what you're learning around technology and how you are implementing it at your work at Honest? What is the best way to get in touch with you?
They can find me on LinkedIn. So search Tommy Giraux or Tommy Giraux Honest Burgers, and you should find me. I also work as a tech consultant for hospitality brands. So I've been, helping brands to grow and choosing the right tech stack, or sometimes fixing the tech. So I'm always happy to have a chat.
Great. Thank you so much, Tommy. Power and energy to you and the team at Honest for the times ahead. I'm looking forward to catch up soon.
Thank you very much, Michael, for having me.